Hello everyone. So this is me, Devneet, again back in my YouTube channel, Automate with Dev. And today I have a very special guest with me after a very long time for you all. So this is Chaitanya for us in the house. So hey Chaitanya, how are you?
Hi Devneet, thank you for having me. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, and yes, I would just like to introduce you for the viewers who might not know you. So Chaitanya is like one of our very esteemed members of our RPA community. He has been also a part of the UiPath MVP program as well, and yes, he also is associated with multiple big tech companies. Currently, he's also like one of the, I think, a lead consultants in one of the banking firms. So yeah, Chaitanya, anything you would like to add about yourself, or you want the viewers to know what you like and
Yes.
what is your interest? Yeah.
So basically, I'm very passionate about RPA and automating the stuff. Along with the RPA, I'm also interested in integrating RPA with machine learning. So that has been my area of passion, and looking forward with you, they need to make more such videos and to share my knowledge with community.
Thanks a lot, Chaitanya, for that lovely introduction. So, yeah, coming to our video today, what it's all about, right? So, last year, me and Chaitanya, we were part of a couple of hackathons. So, the first one was Tech Gig. That was basically that happened, I think, during the month of May or June, I think, that we developed a solution. And then we came to the July part, like after just 1 month after this, we came to the second challenge, that was the Laiye Automation Challenge, July 2021. So we won the first prize. Kudos to us for that. And yeah, we really enjoyed.
Yes. Yes.
We really enjoyed, building the solution, and it's pretty much, I would say, one of the most challenging areas that we decided to target, and we came up with some very good, I would say, a use case at the end of the day. So to know more about the use case, I know many of you requested us before, so we will deep dive more into the solution, like how it looks like. And yeah, Chaitanya will be taking us through the problem statement. Yeah.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah, sure.
So basically, as Devneet said, this is really interesting solution because the reason behind it is trying to solve the real time problem in the industries. So most of the time, customers send us a lot of emails in our inbox, may it be from in English language or may it be from any other language, and this customer queries are need to be classified, identified, and assigned to the respective groups, and later on to be resolved. So this is very hectic and manual tedious task, and that was a problem statement we tried to resolve. And not only the bot which used to identify and classify the emails, but it also used to go further and solve the issue or fix the error. So this was kind of auto resolver bot or the resolve which would identify the issue and as well as with that would resolve the issue. So at the end of this, the customers used to get their issue resolved within a seconds. So this was the problem statement, and that was how the solution we were thinking of building using RPA and machine learning.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that problem statement, Chaitanya. So, as Chaitanya said, like this is actually one of the most challenging areas, I would say, in today's industry. Considering that, like the we only go by the law of demand and supply. So, as we all know, in any industry, the more the demand is, the better you need to work on them, so that you can actually supply the end product. So, I will go through the as is process to just let you know how it looked like manually. So as you can see in this as is diagram, like it was a IT ticket assignment process. So what used to happen was, like, there was a customer who is sitting right now at his home, okay, and if he faces any kind of an issue, be it a software issue, be it a hardware issue, what he would do is he would go ahead and send this company a support request email. So now this company would receive this email, that IT department guy. So whoever is the lead of that specific department, he would analyze the content of that email. So now the problem here that we saw was, like, this email can come up in any language. So there was no such boundary set actually. You can have it in English, in Russian, in Chinese, in German, in any language whatsoever. So so one thing here that was the challenge point is, like, this guy, he has to become a master of, you can say, a jack of all trades, right? So he needs to know about all the languages, whatsoever. So first is the challenge where you need to know all the languages, and you need to have a proper knowledge. Second was he needs to classify the ticket to understand what the real challenge was, the real problem was, and then he needs to identify like in which subcategory this ticket should go. And then what he would do is he would go to ServiceNow and he would raise the particular incident with the proper subcategory and description. Once he did that, he also then used to go ahead and he used to like go into the Salesforce. He used to type the ticket information. Once he types the ticket information in the Salesforce, just to store the details, the relevant details in a separate system altogether, he would go ahead and then reply to the customer saying that the ticket has been confirmed, that okay, the ticket is right now in the bucket and it will be allocated soon to some proper guy in his team. And
Yeah.
he has to reply this in his own language. That is again the thing that he needs to do, because again the customer is someone who just knows that specific language, so we can't just reply him in any language that we want, right? So this was the overall solution, I think. So this is how you can see the flow starts from the customer, it goes to the IT department, and then it again goes back to the customer. So that was the overall as is process. So I would like Chaitanya to go over the solution overview for this now.
Yeah, so this is a very high level overview of the solution. So we can see at the initial phase, the customers are sending the emails, which might be, as Devneet said, might be in another languages. As soon as the email is received from the customers, the RPA bot gets triggered and it fetches all the details like email body or any other attachments along with that mail. It uses language translator engine to translate the language to English. Then this translated English mail body is passed to the or we can say incident classifier engine, which classifies this respective incident either as a software, hardware, or networking, or any other category. Once the issue is identified and categorized, the bot itself goes, RPA bot will go and try to resolve the incident in the Salesforce and also create an incident in ServiceNow. So once the incident is either details are entered into the respective applications, the RPA bot will also make a phone call to the human. So to notify that your incident has been resolved successfully. So here we can see the, as soon as the customer creates a incident or a query, the total query gets resolved within few minutes. So this will save the lot of human efforts and human time as well.
Yeah. So here, one thing that I would just want to add on top of this is, like, as you can see, we have only kept the incident classifier engine right now to software, hardware, or networking, right? So this is what we trained our model on. So we had a machine learning model that we created, and we just, prepared the data and trained the data on these three kind of categories. But the beauty of this solution, that even I think Chaitanya would agree, is like tomorrow, if you have more test data and if you have more subsets of data, right, you can train it to more categories. So this can be actually expanded, I would say, to
Definitely.
any industry, not just the IT industry or not just to these three categories at all.
Right.
And the last part of it, that is also one thing that I would like to know is like to let you all know is like the robot is notifying that specific team lead about all the tickets that are being assigned. So what happens is, like, you just imagine like you are on a day which is a very busy day, right? And sometimes what happens during peak hours, you get a lot of requests from the customers, right? So if you get like 100 of such queries, so this robot will just call that team lead and just tell him like, okay, out of all these 100, for 4 employees or for let's say 50 employees or 60 employees, I have assigned it properly. So that response that comes to the I would say that specific team lead ensures that your SLAs are met during time, and you do
Right.
not actually meet on the, like, you do not actually leave on the deliverables. I think so that is a major thing, right? Yeah.
Right. That's right.
So now let me take you to a bit, I would say, let us deep dive bit into how the solution actually looked like, how the like the 2B flow was like. So I will just take you to that. So let me just switch on to the screen. So here you can see this is our entire 2B flow. So what used to happen was there used to be a configuration file for our bot. Okay. So now this configuration file will consist of many things like this URL of the service now. So we were like integrating service now via APIs. So there would be some endpoint of service now. We were doing a UI automation over Salesforce. So all the related attributes of the, like all the related URL of that Salesforce application, that would be in that config file, right? Apart from
Yes.
that, we were also using a language translator engine. So this language translator engine was a Google Translate API that we used, right, to integrate via Python. So for that also, whatever endpoints you require will be there. So the configuration file basically has everything, even the phone numbers of the employees that it needs to call, from starting to like going to the endless amount of configurables that you can think of, right? So if there was any exception at this particular point, the bot would stop and it would just log that error, and it will send that, like it will just be stored in a log file that we can look later on for our review, right? Going forward, once the bot goes ahead and it goes to our Outlook folder, it will check how many emails it got, right? So if there are no emails, then again the bot would stop, saying that okay, there were no emails at this point of time. If it found some kind of email, what it would do is it would fetch the email contents one by one, and it would detect what language it was. So here that entire email text goes to our language translator engine, that is the Google Translate custom module that we created via integrating with Python, right? So once you get that, the bot is going to check, is there any exception during that API call? If there is, it will log that error and it will stop the bot. If there are no exceptions at that particular point of time, then what we do is we actually translate that text into English. So the main focus here was, for our incident classifier engine, it only understands everything in English language, if I'm
Because
correct.
it was trained on the data which was in English, but in future, as Devnit said, we can train it on our own data as well.
Exactly. Just I think for the most simplistic architecture, we kept it that way, so that the
Yeah,
Google Translator engine actually translates it into an English language for the bot, for that machine learning model to understand. So once it sends that English translated text to the machine learning prediction model, so we build this model on a service in Azure called as the Azure Lewis, right? So once it does
right.
that, it will determine the subcategory of the ticket, and then it is going to raise that incident in the service now using some APIs again, right? If there are any errors, again the bot will log that particular error. If no error are there, it will go to Salesforce, it will log in into Salesforce application, it will enter each detail into that Salesforce application, and then again it will check, is there any exception or not? If no exception, it will move on ahead, and at the end again we are translating that same like a reply. So we have a custom reply that we have set in our configuration file, that gets translated into that specific language which the user actually replied to us in the first go. So when that happens, the bot will then again go and check, is there any other email or not? So once all the emails are processed, right? Once we have raised all the incidents in ServiceNow and we have nothing left with us, the bot will then initiate that voice call to the IT department. For this, we use a service called as Twilio, again, which was an API integration, and you can make a phone call to any particular person if you assign them a service number. So that's how this entire solution used to work on. And now I think, to skip the boring part much more now, we will now move to the video, right? That is what we all are
Yeah,
here for. Okay, so let me just show you the video now. Yeah, Chaitanya, on to you.
sure. So here we can see the bot is in the action. We will see that there are no pending incidents in the service now as of now. We have three input emails or three customer queries in very different languages.
So
So
one is
bot
English,
is
one is
supposed to.
Chinese, and I think one is French, right? I think one is German or French. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So bot is supposed to process these three customer queries. This is the bot we have built using Laiye, and the bot will start its execution. As Devneet explained, bot will read the config and then process further. Bot is reading the ML, bot is reading the mails, and bot has classified, ML has classified the incidents, and now bot is entering the details into the Salesforce application. So we can see how quick it was for bot to just fetch the body of the mail, classify it, and then enter the details into the Salesforce.
And even like till in this part, I will just add one thing. Even service now has like an incident has been triggered in the backend, even in
Yeah,
all this
using
time.
API, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And now you can see
That
like
was
this is
within
now, I
fraction
think,
of seconds.
yeah, now I
Yeah.
think like it is like entering those details and all, right? Yeah.
Yes, right. So this would take a human a lot of time to process actually those 3 mails, to understand what language it is, to translate it, and to classify it further.
Exactly. And I think like that is the beauty of this solution, right, Chaitanya? Like
Yeah,
no matter like how many emails are there, it can work instantly as soon as it picks it up.
exactly.
And,
Right.
yeah.
So we can see that bot is entering the details for all the emails
So I think
in
this is
the
for the second
classifier
one. I think we are total three. I think
emails
we are
together.
total three in place, right?
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
So now it is going for the last one, as you can see. Yeah.
So they need like as we did the integration of ML and RPA, I think this is the baby steps towards intelligent process automation, which gonna be the next big thing in the IT industry.
Exactly. Like this is what hyper automation is all about, right? We are
Yeah,
hearing all those buzzwords every day, right? And we get confused
yes,
like what it is. It is what it is, right? On our screen.
right. So bots logs out from the Salesforce as it has completed its all the operations. So bot is making a phone call using Twilio. So we can see the phone of the
Unfortunately,
bot
we can't hear the voice though, but
with
it's
voice.
not a worry. Yeah.
Notifying the customer about his details have been recorded into the applications, and bot has received the queries successfully.
Exactly.
So bot has finished its execution, and we will now see how bot has replied to the customer in their respective languages, as Devnit said that bot is supposed to do. This seems to be Chinese replied, and here the another one. So incident ID is also mentioned in the email body for the customer to track the details of it later if required.
Exactly. And like this is how the bot actually even created the incidents in service now, as we can see
Service
right now.
now, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Along with the proper category assigned and the description given.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think like all in all, like this was how basically the bot actually go ahead did something which was which we thought like would be done by a human intelligence, right? Because
right.
here you need AI or ML to understand what that context is, and that is where I think the major power of this solution comes from, that ML engine that we built, right? And going forward, like yes, I will just show you the tools that we use, like I already explained you, right? I will just explain you a bit more on them, like what each tool was used for. So we use Python majorly, I would say. Python was basically the core component of our entire RPA solution, that's for sure. Like and the beauty, and I think the one powerful feature of Laiye even as a RPA tool was that it gives you a lot of flexibility to integrate any kind of a programming language with itself.
Yeah,
And that was, I
right.
think, the best thing that we found, right? So here we use plugins, like we created some custom plugins. So the first plugin was like using Python we did. So we use Python to make some API calls to ServiceNow, to make some calls to Twilio as well. Um,
Translator as well.
yeah, for the Google API engine we did, and also for the I would say that calling the machine learning model. For that also we
Yes.
use Python, right? C sharp we specifically use for reading the Excel file. So we actually enhance the functionality of the Excel operations to actually read the entire range at one go. So for that we use a C sharp plugin. We use Java for taking the screenshots. So in case of any errors or any exceptions that occur, right, we created a custom module in Java using which we actually went ahead to create that specific like functionality for us. Then we use ServiceNow as a ticketing platform for all our incidents. We use Twilio service to make phone calls to the particular lead of the department. We use
Yeah.
Salesforce to enter the data for that specific user
As a CRM. Yeah.
as a CRM tool. And yes, we use Google Translate here to basically translate whatever languages we had with us, right, into different sets of languages. And we use Microsoft Azure. Again, here the entire model, machine learning model, was deployed on the Lewis service. So that
Right.
was where we used it, right? So these are all the modules that we created. So these are all the custom modules that we have created. And again, like coming from different RPA tools, I think we all might have done it someday or another, right? In all the
Yeah.
other RPA vendors. So I think like here, this flexibility is something that is really appreciable, because here you are getting a lot of language functionality, because many people we know, they do not maybe start from RPA directly. They sometimes come from different programming backgrounds, right? Someone is a Python developer, someone might be a .NET developer. And I think that
Right.
is the beauty of RPA. It just brings everyone together, right?
Integration of RPA with multiple technologies, multiple languages.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful thing.
Exactly. So here is what like is the list of all the custom modules. Now if you guys are interested in knowing how these custom modules are built and what is the code between them, do let us know in the comment. We will surely post a video on these modules as well, how we built it, right? And we again have the ML expert with us in the house, so you can always
Correct.
enlighten us with that. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So yeah, I think like that was the end of the solution that we built. And again, it was a really great experience, like automating
Same
this
here.
entire solution with
Yes.
Chaitanya. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
such more videos, stay tuned, do subscribe and do press like button. So see you soon. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Thanks a lot, everyone.